Welcome, welcome, one and all. Hello, everyone. How are we doing? Welcome to the weekly Steelchair. And here to talk more pro wrestling. Is that so hard? Well, it depends on the person, I suppose. But welcome, everybody. I hope you're all doing well. We're going to have a wee fun show. And we're just going to see what happens. Because at the end of the day, that's what matters. And if you don't like it, then it's your fault, not mine. Aiming to make it as fun as possible. We're obviously not gonna overdo it, but we'll probably be here for ooh, hopefully 2 hours. I suppose we'll see. There's no guarantees, but one thing is for sure is nothing's for sure. See what I did there? All right, Fletch, what's happening, buddy? But yes, so what am I saying? What am I saying? What I'm saying is welcome, welcome, one and all. We have a lot to get through tonight. Essentially, I'm gonna say last night's show was weird. Like, I actually say this with confidence. Last night's show was weird. I'm very concerned about how things are going to take shape at the because we have to obviously. If you haven't seen the community tab, we've got Rebellion and Unbreakable fast approaching, so we do have to discuss that as well. It's there's a lot, but well, I'm eager to discuss it. All right, Fernando, how are you doing, fella? How are you? This is just not as fun. What am I? You know what I want? Yep. Piece of shit. There we go. This is what I'm after. Okay, okay. So, where do we start? Well, we are gonna start in the best way, and there is no better way than the opening segment. But if you haven't watched last night's TNA, I say it with confidence. It was weird. You didn't really miss much. Well, you missed some things, Catherine, but you essentially didn't miss much. It's just strange. You know what I mean? Like it's just odd. Hold on, let me fix that. Come on, give me what I want. Hold on 2 seconds. I'm just trying to make this. I'm trying to do something very specific. It's just doing my fucking heating. There we go. So last night's TNA, like I said, it's not that it was bad. It wasn't. It's just weird. And the reason why it's weird is it was so NXT heavy. And I really mean it. It was very NXT heavy with who they had on the show. But we do have some good announcements, which I'm really pleased for. Unfortunately, the elegant skank was on the show, but we can survive. We can survive. So let us begin as we do on this fine Friday. Please do hit the like button. Please do subscribe. And whilst we're here, also please give your favorite and worst moment of Just your favorite and worst moment of pro wrestling of the week. WWE are not releasing them without consent. Whenever someone's contract gets released, they tell them. No one gets taken out of no one gets released from a contract without being told. And they have no consent. If I'm firing you, you've got no consent. You're getting sacked. Plain and simple. What does consent have to do about it? If you're being released, it's because you've not been good enough in your position. Therefore, you have to go. As far as I'm concerned, it's end of that. Yes, every company will do that. AEW done the exact same thing. I think every company right now, apart from TNA and New Japan, has a bloated roster. I think AEW and I think AEW and WWE's rosters are far too bloated. And they need to seriously make cuts. Anyway, let us proceed. So it's only wrestling when you actually have a wrestler actually wrestle. The likes of a Bret Hart or a Mr. Perfect. Like those, or Kurt Angle. Get the TNA Plus app. That's what I use. And it's cheaper. The main event is a 6-women's tag match, which is Blanchard, Jane, and Nyx. I know 2 of these. I don't know one of them. Versus Masha Slamovich, Zaya Brookside, and Li Ying Lee. But we are gonna proceed further on. Anyway, so again, why is NXT women getting a featured event? What the fuck have these women done to deserve a main event on a main company? Make that make sense. Especially when you've got Lash Legend and Jakara Jackson also on the show. Again, they're not good enough either. Santino Morello, of course, in his Director of Authority role, will have an announcement. That was later on produced on the weekly Steelchair community tab. It's on there. The elements are certainly available, and I have them to discuss. So there we have that to dissect as well. So we're going to run through it. Not everything partnership-wise is bad, but this is an issue. Well, it's their company. They can do whatever the fuck they want. The only good thing is identity's not lost. Opening contest, though. Ugh. Okay. It's not even been a partnership, so it's not even worth even saying it's been a success or a failure. It's neither because it's never been a partnership anyway. So quite frankly, TNA hasn't had a good partnership since NWA New Japan. They haven't had a good partnership since those companies. I don't particularly care about the partnerships they had with AEW. I don't care about the partnership with WWE because at the end of the day, they haven't benefited from either company. No, they didn't. Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff did. WWE are just unfortunately going to end up buying them at some point down the line. At some point, but luckily not right now, so I can survive a little bit longer. Anyway, opening contest is a TNA original. It's Frankie Kazarian. He is up against Elijah in the opening match. TNA World Champion Joe Hendry is on commentary. And this is when it goes horribly wrong. And it goes horribly wrong because both men are working a good match. And then they do what every pro wrestler does when you're a heel and there's a babyface on commentary. The heel taunts the babyface. He then slaps him, which is what happens because again, I know these things. You get a pushback, and then we carry on. Kazarian does win the match by the most effective move in professional wrestling, the roll up. He wins with that. Very effective heel tactic. And then Joe Hendry storms the ring, attacks Kazarian until security gets involved. But this is when it goes badly for Joe Hendry because whilst this happens, Joe Hendry gets injured. Joe Hendry has to get an x-ray. It's later revealed in the show that Joe Hendry has suffered a horrible injury, and said injury is a rotator. It's a torn free rotator cuff. So a grade 3 severe sprain on his rotator cuff. And the pay-per-view is the pay-per-view is April 27th. I think TNA are now going to pull a creative change. I think that's why they've made the harsh decision to make this match later on a triple threat. Hello, Maria. How are you? Hope you're doing very well. Now, whether you like a wrestler or you don't like a wrestler because of what they are, essentially Joe Hendry is a popular guy, but when I say it respectfully, because he is Scottish, he's more popular because of a catchphrase and a song, but he also does have a good gimmick. The letdown is the fact that because he's on the momentum of finally becoming your champion, he's now injured. And we don't actually know what this could impact. Could he be forced to drop his title at Rebellion? If he's forced to drop it, then that's why Ethan Page is in this match, because he will be pinned by Kazarian. They're not going to have a former TNA talent who's now in NXT become the world champion. It would be futile. I agree with this, Maria. Unfortunately, Jay White is cursed in AEW. He is unfortunately cursed, and it's a shame. Really, circumstances catch you. I'm hoping that he's not out for long, but we will see. And Maria says she believes in Joe Hendry. Well, in that case, I believe in another human. He's a very noble man, honest, a little bit wild, but 100%, he loves to make you guys laugh. I think his name is Reece. Over to our sponsor.
Say his name and he appears. I believe in
Reece Russell.
I believe in
Reece Russell.
Cause they love him in Scotland and 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 Scotland. They say I believe in
Reece Russell.
I believe in
Reece Russell.
Generally, what a guy. You'd think that, but he's got very little muscle, but he's got an amazing brain. Hey ho. It seems that the injury bug is making its way around Jay White, Joe Hendry, Orange Cassidy. Yeah, I agree. And apparently, and I haven't read it yet, but this has come out today as well. Apparently, there's not good news surrounding Darby Allin. I'll let you look into that yourselves, but apparently there's not good news. Hello, Lark Bark. How are you? We all do. First of all, I want to say this, and this is something I really don't get. How did obviously he's in TNA at the moment. I'm surprised he's in TNA. I thought he was going to go to Ring of Honor and then potentially AEW, but Elijah's a great coup for TNA. Yep, Julia ankle injury, that's true. To get someone like Elijah is crazy because he was over in WWE. Like, he was over. I'm very surprised. Like, Elijah, when he was Elias, he had the crowd firmly in the palm of his hand, so I'm quite surprised. Would you guys agree with me, or would you disagree? If you disagree, of course, that's fine to suggest. I mean, I'm not going to force you guys to agree with me. I find it strange. Like, I just do. Like, how can the WWE prides itself on talent that get over in such a way? And and Elias was over. I'm using his former name, of course. He was seriously over, and you waste that. How? I just don't understand it. I really don't. But oh well. Anyway, Joe Hendry, of course, does get injured during the show. His title shot is in jeopardy. Well, not really his title shot, but his title defense is in jeopardy. Kazarian, of course, has called his shot. He will be part of the title match at Rebellion. He's finally called his shot. He does obviously get disrupted by this. First major announcement of the show. And I'm going to bring it up because obviously I've had to mark it as a community post because obviously that's what we do around here. And if you don't like that, then tough luck. We have a very important announcement for Rebellion. We also have some announcements for Unbreakable. I'm going to go through them tonight. But let's start with the system. Eddie Edwards declares there's going to be a public firing of the system. The X Division champion Moose is going to be fired from the faction. At least that's what we're going with. So let us begin. All 5 members of the system make their way to the ring. Eddie Edwards has declared himself in this circumstance the leader, which is completely fine. I like the fact that he has taken charge on this because he calls them all out. So he begins with Johnny Dango Curtis. He tells him he's known him longer than anyone, including his wife, which is fine. And he reiterates that he is sick of the fact that he is continuously taking losses. And he reiterates, are you in or are you out? Which is a very strong statement. It always works, and that's the reality that we have. JDC, of course, turns to the fans, tells them to shut it, confirms he's still part of the faction. They reconcile. Very well done. He moves on to Brian Myers, who I've said on a previous show needs to be kicked out of this faction. Unfortunately, he's still in. Which is fine, of course, that happens. He turns to his wife. She's in. Ugh, unfortunately, she can't fucking wrestle. And then, weirdly, he turns to Moose. And this is where the confusion kicks in. The fans start chanting Moose's name. And Moose is meant to be a heel. You know what I'm saying? This is quite frightening. He's meant to be the heel. The fans are chanting his name. And he doesn't even get a chance to answer if he is also still in the system or is he out. Because part of creative and wasted talent, Cody Deaner, comes out to the ring and this Muppet is still in professional wrestling. He still gets to wrestle. Why is Cody Deaner still a contracted wrestler? Get rid of him. He is absolutely horrible. He wasn't good in 2009. He isn't good now. Get rid of him. I've had enough of him. And, well, Moose decides, you know what, fuck it. So they just beat the living shit out of him. And the system's reunited itself. This was a bad booking segment. This was really bad. Whoever created this segment gets a 0 out of 10 for creative intelligence. It was probably Tommy Dreamer, so he was probably high or chewing tobacco or sucking off Bully Ray. He was doing one of those three things categorically, because this could only come from him, which was rubbish. And quite frankly, drugs are bad, guys. That's why Tommy Dreamer should not be in a creative role. But I digress. I push on. We push on. We try to get our souls back. Whatever that might be. The Meta Girls, Jakara Jackson and Lash Legend, have defeated Spitfire. Time for the sad song. Ladies and gentlemen, I am asking you one time only to give me a thumbs down in the chat. Not a thumbs down on the video. Don't dislike the video. A thumbs down emojis to embolize my pain. I'll wait. Larkbark, you and me are on the same wavelength, sir. You and me are on the same wavelength. But thumbs down, not thumbs up, thumbs down, because fuck me, this was a horrible decision. Stussy, thank you. Stussy knows ball. Now I want you to put in the chat thumbs down and say the words TNA. Because God forbid, even I'm scared for this. Fucking terraforming decision. You know what's even worse? See, before this match starts, you've got a short preview. Stussy knows. I'm the real one you acknowledge. Thank you, Stussy. You're one of my favourite commenters. Actually, to be fair, you all are, but I just love the comment. Thank you. Here's where I get very concerned. Before this match happens, you've got a segment previewing the main event of the 6-woman tag. And then you jump to a very important segment where Moose finds out for... Now, I really like this part. This part is really good. We find out for the Ultimate X match at Rebellion, the best match type ever created, that Matt Cardona and Leon Slater are the first 2 participants in the match. There are still 3 more to be revealed. But Moose has been told he will defend so far against Matt Cardona and Leon Slater. Excellent choices. And all members of the system will be in action next week on Impact. That's good. That's good work. That's further advancing a pay-per-view. I like that. Well done. But you get to this match, and the NXT... Now, bear in mind, Spitfire are a multi-time Knockouts World Tag Team Champions. Multi-time. Danny Luna is better than 95% of the NXT women's roster. Jodie Fret, I'd say about 60%. 65%. Up against 2 pieces of crap. I don't care what anyone says. Lash legend Jakara Jackson offer nothing to professional wrestling. Nothing. And yet you give them a dominant win against the former champions. Why? Why? What is the absolute piss take of a reason? You know, I'll throw over to our we'll get the response from our media correspondent. Hold on 1 second. Let me just ask him, how do we react to such a shocking decision? Over to you. Absolutely, we cut the throat. What is this crap? See if... Now, here's what I would have preferred. See if you're going to have Jody Fret and Danny Luna lose to Legend and Jackson, why not have a more competitive match to actually see if they can be tested against two experienced veterans? Or one who's a veteran, the other's like an experienced talent but still got age on her side. Why not have a competitive tag match? Instead, you absolutely dominate your most legitimate tag team. Make that make sense. Honestly, it doesn't make any sense. Yeah, I agree with that, Stussy. He does look cool when he does it. It does fit him really well. It's very bad booking, Maria. Exactly. See, if it had been a competitive match, I would have been like, you know what? That's okay. I can accept TNA talent are going to lose to NXT talent now and again, and TNA talent are going to beat NXT talent. That's okay. But I don't want them to get absolutely squashed. I don't want them to get absolutely ruined, because then that doesn't look right. This is a prime example of there's no way that they should be losing like this. It makes no sense. Yes, it was. Yes, it was. Don't you start. Don't you start. Be honest. It was bad. If you genuinely think this wasn't bad, then you terrify me. Backstage, we have Derek. Some guy called Derek, who is introduced to Santino Marella by one of the best single star in the company, Mike Santana. Again, who the fuck is Derek? Was he taken off the streets? Was he taken from a Burger King? Who the fuck is Derek? No idea. We are also getting a... See, now there's something I like here. There's a bit of redemption on the show. This show does get redeemed, luckily by the Hardys. Because that's what happens. When things go wrong, you call in the Hardys. It wasn't a fun match. No, it wasn't. You can't give them a win back now because of this. You can't. Yeah, I don't see the need. The only thing it does, though, is it does at least further build the story to Santana and Mustafa Ali. But this story is missing one key component. This should be your World Championship feud. They'll probably end up back at WWE once their contract with their TNA contract ends, which is like this year, later in the year. How? Now, the Hardy segment is stronger because they're building to what I think is going to happen. By the time this feud concludes, you're going to have the Nemeths versus Broken Matt Hardy and Brother Nero. I can see it coming. They're going to go back to the Broken gimmick in the only place where it worked. And I hope to God it does. I really do. I'm looking forward to... Again, I think Ryan Nemeth isn't as good as he thinks he is. He's lucky that his brother's one of the best still. That I actually think they will have a relatively okay tag match at Rebellion, especially because it's for the titles. I'm expecting the Hardys to put the Nemeths over, though, so we can get the Broken Universe reunited. I hate when WWE tried to do it and they failed. It only worked in TNA because it had full creative control. I can see why you hate it. I actually think it's the best storytelling Matt's done since V1. And it was interesting for Jeff to do as well, because I never thought he had it in him. They were interrupted by the great hands of John Schuyler and Jason Hotch. Again, these guys with Mustafa Ali and Tasha Steelz, I like their gimmick. I actually like the faction they've got together. I just want to see them actually facilitate story. I think the only thing that's going to let them down is I don't think they're going to all get the championships. I think they deserve to hold them. I just don't think they're going to get it. Mustafa's character is already built, essentially. All he needs is extra layers to work around with on a facilitative circumstance. I like it though. I really do like it. Mustafa Ali's gimmick is so original that not many people can try that. It was brave. Like I rate it. Mustafa Ali was genuinely my wrestler of the year last year. That's what I thought of Mustafa Ali. He was my wrestler of the year. The match between them obviously comes up, which is okay. Tasha Steelz, solid women's wrestler, really good women's wrestler. She's on commentary. She does a good job. And in the end, the Hardys win. See if they drop the TNA tag titles. I actually wouldn't mind them winning the NXT tag titles. Because at least at that point, they can officially say they've won every single title that they've competed for. The only titles they've never won is the IWGP ones, I believe. And if that's the case, then, well, just let them run over to... Actually, no, they didn't win the AEW tag titles either. Never mind. They didn't need to... No, in this case, the Hardys had to win. With Rebellion, the champions need to have some momentum going. Otherwise, it's not gonna get strength from the work of the title match at Rebellion. They had to win. Back from commercial break, and Ryan boarding Nemeth is seriously trying to tease Leon Slater. Ryan Nemeth, honestly, he is trying to step up to a talent so much better than him. It's not going to work. The opening match, yes, perhaps, but they didn't because they're morons. That's why the match is pish. That's why. And look, Lash Legend Jakara Jackson should be working at Hooters. They can't wrestle. They really can't wrestle. Next week we have next week, by the way, on the show we do have Leon Slater versus Ryan Nemeth in singles action. Hopefully that's a 2-minute squash and Leon Slater just mugs him. We then get the update, of course, Ryan does suck. Exactly. If anyone thinks Ryan Nemeth is good, you don't know pro wrestling. On their way to the Impact Zone is Digital Media Champion Mance Warner and Steph DeLander, bragging about magazine covers and their love. Okay. And they brag about being the champions until Santino appears, and Santino cuts them off and confirms that the media championship is no more. And we have a new championship on the way at Unbreakable 2025, April 17th. There will be the first ever TNA International Championship. they suck. We will have a TNA International Championship. Thankfully not Catherine, because I have standards and she is nowhere near. Now, because this tournament is going to be at Unbreakable, the match, because they've got no talent, no character, no charisma, can't cut a promo, and they're in the wrong profession. Plain and simple. Watch them properly. They are crap. Every match Unbreakable for the International Championship will be triple threat matches, which is actually relevant to Unbreakable because the main event Unbreakable was that famous triple threat match. So I applaud this. Now, Santino demands that they return the international, the digital media title, of course, which they refused to do. So instead of that, Sami Callihan appears, whacks them with a baseball bat, steals the title, hands it to Santino, who walks away. Coming back from the break, Derek. Well, I know I'm correct. I know I'm right. Oh, brother, no. Fernando, you're losing your cool factor. Save yourself. Back from commercial break, Mustafa Ali has requested the presence of Derek. It's at this point where, of course, Mustafa Ali is running the addiction. Like he's basically bullying anyone that's an addict. And quite essentially, Mike Santana finds out later in the show. We find out in the show that the drugs that was given by Santana, in kayfabe, of course, but he is found to be high. Okay, so we're doing an angle where you're a recovering drug addict, and you get them high. Again, storytelling, but really just sad. Ash is a Ferris wheel, everyone gets a turn. Yeah. Everyone does. Yeah, she's blonde, but see, brunettes are better. I don't even know how to react to this segment. I would have just kept bullying him for being a miserable drug addict and he failed at life. I would just keep bullying him for that. I'm not sure if it was a wise move to actually have him offered anything drug-wise and then you actually carry it on in the show. Yeah, get well soon, Matthew. I'm sorry you're not feeling well. It just seems strange for me that you've pursued this angle because this is what cost the NWA a TV deal. I don't get it. Oh yeah, well, I like it when we do it, especially Scottish people, junkie bastards. She hasn't. Where's she improved on? The only thing she's improved on is she's become an even bigger overbearing bitch. She still can't cut a good promo and she still can't wrestle. just doesn't make much sense to me. But I will say, TNA made the bold decision to do this. Like, they've made the bold decision to shoot this angle. Okay. I mean, they're not as stupid as the NWA, which was real cocaine. But I just find it strange. TNA are trying to get another TV deal. They are trying to get another TV deal, so you do the same thing that another company has done. I don't know if this is right. No, it didn't work with Jericho. It's strange. You can't say it's not as bad as NWA because you're also a TNA fan. I'm the most real TNA fan on this planet. And even I think this is stupid booking. Like, it's actually... I would have just bullied him for the drugs. Mustafa Ali should have went all high and mighty because of his political gimmick. He should have went all high and mighty and belittled this guy instead of offering him drugs. Even if it's kayfabe, I still think it's stupid. I actually think this hurts TNA a little bit. Like, I actually do think it hurts the product. Especially because Mustafa Ali is one of the best wrestlers and best gimmicks. Well, he's got one of the best character stories as well right now, character arcs for his political gimmick. I just think it hurts him to do this. I don't know. Oh, don't start with this. No, 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 no. We're not doing that. We criticised the weird stuff that AEW did last night. This is not AEW. This is TNA. AEW has never done a drug angle like this. Not in the sense of it. They haven't made it drug related. Yes, you can do a syringe or whatever's been injected, but they haven't done anything like, oh yeah, we're going to offer you substances to take because you're a drug addict. Or it's just a bit fun because it's the locker room. I'm not having it on this show. Just like, even WWE wouldn't get away with this. If WWE done a drug angle like this, they wouldn't get away with it either. I would hold them like a gun to their head. And every company does over-the-top bumps, so let's not do that. Let's not do that. And if you really want to argue, I will give you one prime example of a stupid over-the-top bump from someone who should never have done it in the first place. So let's have none of that. Their sponsor actually came back and was fine with the violence because it was addressed in the media call. Max are continuing with it. Your point isn't going to do anything right now. You need to actually be... See, for once, and this is where I'm coming out on this. We're critiquing one particular show over a stupid angle. One company. We are keeping it to one company. Literally, it's... I love TNA, but TNA need to be held accountable for this. Whoever booked this needs to be seriously asked what the hell were they doing. Kevin Owens is dealing with an undisclosed injury with no timetable set for return to action. This puts Owens' WrestleMania match versus Randy Orton in jeopardy with 15 days remaining. Well, that's fine then. Take Randy Orton off WrestleMania then. Take Randy Orton off WrestleMania. Just say we're not going to have the match. They can have it at Backlash. Randy Orton doesn't need every single WrestleMania, so let him miss it. Exactly. If SmackDown ended up doing something stupid like a drugs angle, we would be discussing it about SmackDown. Oh, but since we're going to talk about stupid angles, we'll bring up one stupid booking thing this week. You take a title off Stephanie Vaquer. Brain dead booking. But I'll put that in there. I'll make that a brain dead situation. But I know you're a fan of Orton because you like looking at his arms. But yes, if Kevin Owens injured, there's no point booking him in another match with 2 weeks to go. It would be stupid booking. If Kevin Owens is not fit, then get rid of it. It's not always a... She is recognised as the final NXT Women's Champion. I'm pretty sure. I recognise her. I like edginess and I like pushing the envelope, but I have an issue when it comes to drug angles. The only time I didn't have a problem was the Straight Edge Society. Because that was Punk belittling people about alcoholism and drugs, but he shaved their heads. Totally different. And that got heat. This drug angle has not got anyone heat. It's just raised stupid questions that make no sense. This isn't edgy. This isn't pushing the envelope. This is just... This is cheap shit. This is stuff that, ironically... I'm going to praise her for this because at least she's consistent. This is the sort of shit that Ailey criticizes stuff about AEW. I'm going to praise Ailey in a little bit in terms of her consistency. This is what she critiques. I'm criticizing it on one of my favorite wrestling companies. It is lazy booking. They could have just had Mustafa Ali just bully this addict. Just bully him for being a junkie, for being a failure, wasting his money on shit like that he's injecting into himself. That's much more impressive. To then offer him drugs to get high is just bad. It's bad. It's not. That's worse than lazy. It's just bad booking. And honestly, it offends me. It reminds me of NWA TNA from the very beginning when they had midgets holding guns, or that little midget was caught having a shuffle on TV, and that was part of his gimmick. They made him do that as booking. Thankfully, after that, he was gone. But that shit sucks. I can't accept that. I'm sorry, I can't. If you genuinely like and accept that shit, then I don't fucking understand. Because it makes no sense for me. Allegedly not is considered a title unification when she won it. Oh, that's a shame then. But to me, she is. Unfortunately, we get a backstage segment from George Iceman, who represents the Elegant Trio, the Elegant Duo, because it's going to be a trio eventually. They mentioned a discussion with Maggie Lee, who's signed to TNA. Congratulations to Maggie Lee. She's a very good talent. She's got a good future. I hope they build her well. I think she's good enough. I wish her well. The International Title Tournament Series, and then Ultimate X. You are being a TNA fanboy. And it's alright to say. Santana is sympathetic when he gets bullied by Mustafa Ali because of the drug thing. But it doesn't make him sympathetic in that circumstance. What it makes him do is it makes him have facing your demons doesn't mean you have to have the drugs in your face. You just have to keep taunting them about the drugs. That gets much more strength out of someone. I think it is an awkward one for her. Is she? Isn't she? It depends on what they say. Yeah, it is a good catch. Maggie Lee's very good. I like her. So, Ultimate X. One of the most exciting professional wrestlers on the planet is returning to TNA for the X Division Ultimate X match. And it'll be El Del Vikingo. I am absolutely excited to see Vikingo back in TNA. And I think he is another exciting addition to this match. There's still 2 more talents after this to announce. I think one of them could end up being Casey Navarro. I'm not sure. But so far, you've got the defending champion Moose versus Matt Cardona versus Leon Slater, who I hope wins the match, and El Hijo del Vikingo. Fuck me, this match is already flying. The 2 triple threat matches for the 2 triple threat matches. So the first one is Ace Austin versus Eddie Edwards versus Steve Macklin. I hope Ace Austin wins, but I am going to go with Eddie Edwards. I think Eddie Edwards is going to win this because he's already a Grand Slam. So let me get this straight. Their spots make your head shake, but a drug angle makes my head shake and you praise it. I don't get it. That doesn't make sense to me. You're basically you've basically just done the mirror. You've just mirrored it to what I think. I shake my head at this because it's bad booking. They don't need to bring drugs to do it. Like, do you not see how... Now, I'm not going to tell them to do this. I hope they don't come at you for this. But this is where Catherine or whatever will come at you and say you're being hypocritical. Now, I'm glad you respect my opinion. I see where you're coming from. I respect yours too. It just seems weird to me that you can praise this, the fact that they actually gave him drugs, even if it's kayfabe. They gave him drugs just to get high on the show, just for Santana's feud with Mustafa Ali. They should have just bullied the fuck out of him instead of handing him drugs. I just don't get it. This is what I don't understand. You know what I mean? It's just weird. It's what I think. If you like it, that's fine. But me, I find it bloody bizarre. I find it. I really do. I find it bizarre. Main event obviously is the female triple threat. Long story short, Tessa Blanchard pins Masha Slamovich again. This is back-to-back weeks where Slamovich has pinned the champion, and she is getting the title shot at Rebellion. Now, Tessa Blanchard is signed to TNA, whereas JC Jane and Jasmine Nix are NXT talents. Again, another win through NXT. Over 3 now. At least you're fulfilling the story of Blanchard versus Slamovich en route to the title match. That's okay. But why did it have to be NXT talent? You could have had Tasha Steelz in this match. You could have had Rosemary. It's cheap. It's a good match though. I'll say this is the better match from the women. This is the better match. So I will stand by that. But it's just odd that they're continuing with the NXT. They're so heavily featured. So strange. It was during that segment, but they had shot away so they wouldn't get caught. The good thing for them though is Anthem have got their own sports network, so it's on their TV network. They own it. But the TNA Plus app, it's also right there. I just think they can do it without having to provide it. Yeah, this is true. Just remember, TNA have had a bad history with drugs before. You know what I mean? Like, see if you actually look at Jeff Hardy in 2011 should be an example of why you don't do why you shouldn't allow drugs near the company. TNA does look aside from that spot trying, but I think they are trying. I really do. I think the past couple of shows, it's been hit and miss, and I say that honestly, like, it's been hit and miss. But they have had strength from certain talents who have consistently delivered. Mustafa Ali, Mike Santana. Honestly, even though she's a bitch, Tessa Blanchard has continuously turned up. Masha Slamovich has turned up. Ace Austin, the Rascals, Kazarian, even Elijah, apart from the injury, they are actually consistent. Tasha Steelz, since she's joined Mustafa Ali, has been incredible. The Northern Armory, Eric Young, and the young talents. Good faction. Steve Macklin is on a roll. See, the thing is, they're all TNA talents. Eddie Edwards looks thriving now because he seems to be taking control in the system. Very good. The Hardys are there. Ryan Nemeth, I was going to say, is doing well. He's not. Nick Nemeth is consistent. Leon Slater is the wonderfully pushed. It's missing Chris Bay, unfortunately. I hope he's back soon. But let's ramp it up. They don't need... Here's the funny thing. TNA does not need NXT. They just need to get rid of some of the older talent that can't work anymore and go firing in and work with the young talent. Let them run, because you've got it there. I think so. He's been okay in TNA though, Mansoor. He's been alright. I think the only thing for him though is, I do agree with you, he's more indie than anything else. I actually hope TNA tied down Matt Cardona. I would rather they keep Matt Cardona than Warner. That's my personal opinion. Cedric Alexander should go to TNA and team with Ace Austin. Not a bad shout. That's not a bad shout. In the main event segment, that's because Steph DeLander's his real life girlfriend. If they didn't have chemistry, they wouldn't be a couple. Matt Cardona is extremely well for the business. He's so underrated. I really like him. The main event segment. So we have the Golden Tumbler for the international tournament for Unbreakable, and the three names are Sami Callihan, Eric Young, and Johnny Dangle Curtis. They will compete for in the tournament at Unbreakable for the international championship. That's a good triple threat. I'm thinking this one, Sami Callihan wins. I think it's going to be Callihan versus Edwards. Although I would prefer Ace Austin versus Eric Young. Or even Eric. Actually, yeah, it would be, because it'd be a babyface versus heel. And it works. Frankie Kazarian comes out to the ring. He declares his Call Your Shot gauntlet. He declares his title shot for Rebellion. He wants the match. And before the show ends, we get another triple threat. And this is where it gets interesting. Zachary Wentz of the Rascals versus Mance Warner. The last digital media champion is in the tournament versus AJ Flop Dollar Francis. But the matches change. Sami Callihan replaces Zachary Wentz. They are swapped because Callihan wants Warner. So I hope if the final is a triple threat as well, I hope the final is Ace Austin versus Eddie Edwards versus Zachary Wentz. I think that is your best triple threat for if they do a triple threat title match. You know why Nancy and Benoit didn't have chemistry on screen? It's because they weren't together. At that point, they were together, but she was still with Sullivan. Legally. AJ needs to learn the business in a bad way. AJ needs to get fucking kicked out of the business. Matches for next... Before we come to the closing segment, then we start the short review, and then we do the Q&A. Because, again, Q&A for you guys. And what I'm going to bring up the matches for Rebellion on the community tab. This is your matches for next week. Steve Macklin versus Eddie Edwards. Mustafa Ali versus Ace Austin. Cody Deaner, get rid of him, versus Moose. Leon Slater versus Ryan Nemeth. The Rascals versus JDC and Brian Myers. And for the international title qualifier, Mance Warner versus AJ Francis versus Sami Callihan. The triple threat for this actually makes sense though. This is the only time I'll say the triple threat really matters. The triple threat makes sense for this. Not essentially, it's only for the event. Remember, Unbreakable isn't going to be like it was in 2005. It's not going to be a pay-per-view, it's a TV special. It's a TV special where the matches are triple threats for a reason. Unbreakable 2005 was main evented by the greatest triple threat in wrestling history. Styles versus Daniels versus Samoa Joe for the X Division title. Therefore, these tournament matches are all triple threat in honor of that match. I mean, as long as I'm referee and I get to pick who's in it. Speedball versus Drolistico. I like Drolistico, but Speedball can do better. I would rather Speedball versus... Oh, I don't know. It does actually benefit though. The thing is I think I understand. I mean, I prefer singles matches or standard tag matches, but I don't mind the odd multi-man or multi-woman match. But if you're actually paying tribute to an event that happened 20 years ago, then why shouldn't there not be something that relates? It's just a TV special. That's all. It's the actual pay-per-view is the end of the month. The pay-per-view is in 3 weeks' time. This is just a TV special. That is correct. We don't know that. Like, we do not know that. I hope so, but we don't know that. Of course you don't. I think he will have one more match in TNA first. I think you could see AJ in both companies by the year's end. Yeah, that's what it is, Catherine. So, Frankie Kazarian calls his shot for the TNA title. AJ Styles versus Kaz, yeah. But then out comes a former TNA World Tag Team Champion in Ethan Page. And Ethan Page takes out Kazarian and declares himself also in the match for Rebellion. Now, Kazarian earned the right for the title anytime he wants. But I actually agree with Ethan Page being added to this title match. I actually do agree. Oh, Frankie's awesome. Frankie Kazarian is awesome. The good thing is, if he went back to TNA, he's not around that bitch Dixie Carter. Because after all, she's the worst owner in professional wrestling history. Facts. I want him to get inducted into the TNA Hall of Fame, have one last match as Slammiversary or Bound for Glory, and then go to TNA and have a match with Kenny Omega. I want him to have a feud with Kenny Omega for the title. And also, run it back. AJ Styles versus Okada, run it back. Nah, Dixie Carter. Always Dixie. Okay. TNA, apart from the weird... I mean, he already smashed Will Ospreay. He can beat him again. Because she deserves it. She's one of the biggest liars in the pro wrestling business. So, apart from the weird drugs segment, you're still facilitating a story, but that part's just weird. A dominant squash by two women that can't wrestle over a genuine tag team. And AJ Francis gets to potentially get a title shot where he could win a championship is quite bloody frightening. And the weird segment from the system, this show was actually alright. I'm hoping it builds. I like the fact that they've announced... I like the announcements for Vikingo and the Ultimate X matches. The title matches booked for Rebellion. And I like the tournament matches for Unbreakable. The thing is, though, He lied to our creative team about how the pay-per-view buys for each month. She never told them. She lied to Kurt Angle about his relationship. About a relationship that happened to him. She kept using Vince Russo when Spike fired him and told her never to bring him back on a creative basis. So she cost him the job. She brought in Hulk Hogan and Eric Bischoff over Paul Heyman, which ruined the product. And then she made herself a heel president gimmick because she thought she could, and that was awful. That woman should have just been money, money, fuck off. Horrible woman. Horrible woman. Proper dumb. I don't know what's going to happen with Ethan Page. I'm glad he's in the match, though. Absolutely. And also, she made Bubba Ray a world champion twice. That woman needs sectioned. A little bit of night driving for the Q&A section. So, we're going to bring up the post in the community tab. But Ethan Page, I'm glad he's in the match purely because if Joe Hendry is not capable to wrestle, then Ethan Page purely is in there to take a pin. If Joe Hendry retains this championship with a grade 3 rotator cuff sprain, where there's no limit to how long he's out injured for, then it's weird. See, if he'd been a TNA talent, I would say give him the title. But he's not. He's an NXT talent, so I hope he's the one that takes the pin. There's no way Joe Hendry should still be champion after Rebellion if he's going to be out for quite some time. Who? Ethan Page. See, if you say Bubba Ray was over, then I can't protect you from this chat if you say Bully Ray was over. My arse. Fucking hope not. I hope it's not. It's a sprain. Like, the good thing is it's a sprain. It's not like he's torn it, but still. He was not. Oh. No. Don't. No. Please don't. Oh. He's the worst world champion in history. At some point, I wouldn't be surprised because I generally thought they were going to have Cora Jade win the women's the Knockouts title, and then I would have died. I think it's coming at some point, though. I think the only title I'm willing to concede NXT talent winning, even though I don't want it to happen, the only time I'll concede an NXT talent winning a TNA title is if it's the tag team titles, because I want a feud between Fraxium and the Rascals, and Fraxium, etc. with Fraxium versus the Nemeth brothers as a heel tag team for the titles. I'd be okay with that, provided that we get, I don't know, the Hardys or the Rascals winning the NXT tag team titles. Be alright with that, but not the singles gold. He literally had. It's true. His segments were one of the worst rated segments in company history. They were awful. His title run did nothing as well. You had better heels, and you gave the title to that slob who can't wrestle, who can't cut a promo, whose faction was rubbish. You took the title of Jeff Hardy in his longest run, I might add, by the way. This was Jeff Hardy's longest world title run in his entire career. You take the title off him when he's your most over babyface, and you drop it to him. Wrong person. Now, obviously, you're building up AJ Styles as the lone wolf character, which was excellent. That was one of the rare things TNA did well in 2013. Spitting you in the face, they should have gave the title back to Bobby Roode, who was TNA's top heel. Batshit crazy. And then you give the title to Chris Sabin just to have him drop it very quickly. Bobby Roode was incredible. And we'll never see him wrestle again. He's one of the only rare successes from the Hogan Bischoff era, in my opinion. Apart from Kurt Angle's run, where Kurt Angle went through all the young talent, where and all the top contenders on the list for if any of them were to go to, if any of those talents were to beat Kurt, then he would be forced to retire, which was a great storyline, and it builds to Angle versus Jarrett, which was another great feud. Actually, no, Velvet Sky as well as champion. Gail Kim's return to be booked as champion was top notch. Apart from that, there's not many successes from this era, and it led to horrific stuff. That match between Sting and Hulk Hogan at Bound for Glory was horrible. What a disgrace to Sting. Matt Morgan never got to become world champion, and he was one of the best big men TNA have ever had. He never got to be world champion. Yeah, that's true. And you know what's funny? JBL as WWE champion was actually good. Oh, it was so bad. The crowd were looking for an escape. I nearly stopped watching. Luckily, I didn't. But then we went from AJ Styles saying he wants to make Dixie Carter pay, and he leaves. He leaves. She crowns a new champion. Where Magnus, as you guys know, Nick Aldis, he wins the championship by beating Jeff Hardy in a very weird match, the Dixieland match. Again, that was weird. Stroll through that, blah de blah de blah. Again, horrible. I think the thing is for me, he didn't work until he got to NWA when he started wrestling under his real name. Because see, when he did that, he really got to show himself. Now, I hate Marty Scurll now. Marty Scurll betrayed my fandom for what he did. But that 45-minute title match between Aldis and Scurll is an amazing match. His matches with Cody Rhodes for the NWA World title are actually very good as well, and I can't stand Cody Rhodes. But Aldis at that point got to show his wrestling credentials properly. I'm actually glad he done it, and obviously he got to surface Camille, and it's not going to matter. You genuinely think Moose is better than Matt Morgan? How? That is an underrated fatal four-way. GBL versus Undertaker versus Eddie Guerrero versus Booker T. Sorry, Booker Pedophile Sympathizer T. Genuinely, I like that match. I actually like his run. One of his best matches is the matches with, was his matches with Eddie Guerrero. Really underrated stuff. Please stop praising Dixie Carter. She was crap on the mic. She was horrible. She should have been told, "You're just an owner, leave it." That was very good. Mm. His triple threat with Big Show and Kurt Angle was actually underrated as well. I think that's an underrated match. The problem with GBL though is after that, he just became more obsessed with his whole wrestling god thing, and that's the only part of his that's the only part of him that I just thought was funny. But as a champion, he was there. I'm glad Eddie Guerrero suggested him to be the one who takes the title. What a way to take the title. That bull rope match was phenomenal. That is for me the best match GBL's ever had. That Texas bull rope match. I honestly did not expect both men to get so violent like that. That was a time when you thought, are they going to stretch the limits? Oh, they did. Yes, I know. Diona Perazzo's on the Triller chat. I know. Oh, yeah. I certainly did. She's got more than that. GBL versus Chris Benoit, Steel Cage 2006 underrated. That should have been the match they had at Mania. Mm, yeah. We would have had a diving head, but anyway, on a steel chair, and we would have ran. They were expensive back then, though. It's wild how much it is now. Like, even just to buy off an application, it's crazy. I never thought I would see it get so pricey. I never thought it would get more expensive than what it is. That's what it is now, it's wild. Right, before we do the Q&A, I said I was gonna share screen, so this is what I've put on the community tab. I put it up last night. A few people have liked it, thank you, I appreciate that. People have viewed it. So this is what we've got so far for Unbreakable, and he had a great diving headbutt, he just had a stupid way of not looking after himself. He was irresponsible. Let's have a look at the community tab. So, I have narrowed it down as best I can. Actually, let me see, let me go a little bit. That'll do. That's better. So, as I've said, again, amazing literacy. That woman can break me many times over, and I am alright with that. So, as confirmed, we have our triple threat for the World Championship. Masha Slamovich will defend the Knockouts Women's Championship against former champion Tessa Blanchard. The digital media title, of course, is now retired. So we will have a tournament. Obviously, we've got three championship tournament matches, which I'm okay with. Again, I'm looking forward to that. The three matches for the three known opponents for Rebellion in the Ultimate so far. So we have Matt Cardona, Leon Slater, and El Kiko Del Vikingo. And I've said I'm going for Slater, but I wouldn't mind if Vikingo won. Second Rebellion in a row for Nick Nemeth. He's challenging for a championship. He will be teaming up with his brother Ryan to face the Hardys. I think we're actually in store for a title change, by the way. There is a 6-woman NXT versus TNA match at Rebellion as well. Fatal Influence versus Rosemary, Zaya, Brookside, and Li Yang Lee. Elijah has an opponent to be announced as if he's still on the card. And obviously Rebellion is on the 17th and Rebellion is on the 27th. You know what? I'm actually alright with this card. I'm alright with it. How long did that take to write? Well, obviously I wanted to make being dyslexic. Obviously, I want to make sure it's grammatically correct and it makes sense. It took about 15-20 minutes. It took about 15-20 minutes. I do have some other updates as well for everybody, if this helps as well. I said there's some things I'm refusing to cover, so please don't bother asking me for this. I'm not going to do it. And I absolutely will not do it. So before I did that post, I also did this one. So if you haven't seen this, you will see it now, because again, I like doing what I can for you guys. You guys are all supportive. So we have, first of all, Night of Champions, June 28th, Saudi Arabia. I'm not covering it. I refuse to preview it. I'm not going to review it. I will be taking that weekend off. I will be gaming instead. Secondly, actually, no, I think we covered it last night. On April 7th, which is the announcement is expected, that's my mum's birthday. We've got something for that as well. We do have the Evolution PLE, and then there's your match cards so far for WrestleMania. Job done. We are doing the Dynasty rewatch watch along, because we're going to do a live review as we're rewatching the pay-per-view. So I'm doing that on Monday, which I think is going to be fun. We'll see how that goes. But over to you guys for the next 25 minutes up until the 2-hour mark. Yep. Oh yeah, it's going to be. I hope Stephanie Vacour gets the main event. I hope so. She won't because they value whatever's ahead of her, but she should be the main event. Sadly, yes, I hated it. Anyway, the next 25 minutes, over to you guys. Whatever the heck you want. Great question. Do you want it just in general or genre specific? I don't mind either way. But my all-time favorite movie is The Empire Strikes Back. And then it's The Shining, then well, actually, to be fair, Batman 1989 is my favorite is one of my favorite movies as well. I would say Empire Strikes Back is my number 1 favorite film. American Psycho is another one, The Shining, etcetera, etcetera. Goodfellas is a great movie. I got the North Show tomorrow with Collision tomorrow night, and I'm doing ICW on Sunday because Rio is headlining it, and then Dynasty is decent. Yeah, rest in peace, Val Kilmer. Honestly, that shocked me. I thought somebody was doing a social media joke. I really mean that. I genuinely thought that was a joke, but I think it says a lot just how badly unwell he looked and, um, how badly ill he looked in Maverick. It's kinda like a writing on the wall. I know that sounds a bit cruel to say, but that's the vibe I was getting. It felt like that for me. It felt like a writing on the wall that maybe he's so far ill that he may never recover, and he had to get that. I just wished we got him one more time as a scene as Bruce Wayne or Batman because that Flash movie is a bloody joke, but we got the best Batman of Michael Keaton, but then we're stuck with this. We're stuck with George Clooney getting a scene. Nonsense. Are we sure it's pneumonia? Is that confirmed? I haven't seen this, so that's new to me. Godfather is an amazing movie. I love The Godfather. Who do you have as the wild cards in the Owen Cup? Josh Alexander or Jeff Jarrett? What she said was correct. And why would you keep it private? It was said in a public sense. She didn't actually offend. She didn't insult Mickey James. Go back and look at her response. She didn't say anything insulting. She said she felt offended by what Mickey James said because Mickey James, honestly, is a hypocrite. She's tone deaf. Velvet Sky was correct. I just see you know what that the film would have been excellent if it wasn't Ezra Miller. I like Flashpoint as a story though. I love it as a comic book story. I just don't like Ezra Miller. Like I really don't like him. I was gutted when he got the role. I was begging for a recast. I didn't get what I wanted, unfortunately. Getting a little bit warm, which is not good for my back. Need to cool myself down. Don't get any ideas, Catherine. Honestly, the way things are going, Fernando, I wouldn't be surprised now. I hope not, but I'm starting to really get bloody worried. Well, it pretty much did, yeah. The good thing is he doesn't essentially get erased. It's just because the Flash obviously changes the timeline, so his Batman still exists, but not in that timeline. Ben Affleck's Batman was actually very good. The problem is they just didn't know what they just didn't know what they were doing with that film. They I didn't like I wanted Justice League to work, but they badly flopped. Do you think Fantastic Four and Thunderbolts is gonna be fire? Fantastic Four, I'm really looking forward to. Thunderbolts, I'm not sure. It's got potential. We just know that you get we just know that you can have a certain mood. Only kidding you, Catherine, only kidding you. Well, considering the fact that Velvet Sky right now is currently going through humiliation of her own from another situation, I don't think she particularly cares about this part right now. And shout out to Velvet Sky for trying to handle her personal situation. I feel so bad for her. I really do. But in the circumstance, all she said was to Mickey James that it was like she felt offended by how hypocritical Mickey James is by what she said, which is true because look at what she said. It just makes no sense. Snyder dropped the ball in the DCU. I agree. You love a man for metal. Sure, I mean, it's understandable. Ezra just needs to be lost completely from any good job. We beg. Am I pumped for John Wick 5? Yes, I am. So what happened? Basically, her husband was seeing his ex, and she was sent pictures and all sorts of things, and it kicked off for her. And it's not gone well for her, put it that way. I genuinely feel bad for her in the circumstances. I feel bad in the manner of what happened. Again, it's her life. If you want to see what's going on, just look on her social media. I just see it that way. DC was already going downhill before Snyder. They make Green Lantern and Superman Returns. Superman Returns was not so bad. The problem is good actors. The script was just bad. It's like Daredevil, the film, not the series, because the series is perfect. You've got good actors in the roles, just really bad script. Green Lantern, on the other hand, that is a horrible movie. The original the original duo, Velvet Sky and Angelina Love, yes, same. I didn't mind when Madison Rain got added to it, but when they added that absolute weirdo Lacey Von Erich, the faction died. That that ruined my love for the faction. I preferred it when it was just those 2. Even when they added Billy Gunn, it worked. Like, that was actually quite cool. But after that, they ruined it. As much as I want to agree, Fernando, and I love The Dark Knight, I just disagree. For me, it's not the greatest comic book movie ever. 2003 Daredevil's alright, it's just unfortunately it's a bad script. Life can life can get you in mysterious ways, but the only thing you can do is just stay true to yourself and live on. Oh, I don't know. I think Punisher 2004's got a good soundtrack, but I don't know, I think there's better soundtracks out there. Do you think Joe Hendry can work in AEW? I don't see why not. I don't know how they would use him though. Like, I don't know. That's a question. Really want me to do this? A top 10 most hated wrestlers? You want me to do it? To be fair, that's actually what made Keaton's Batman special though. He was building the character, but he was also building the mystique. He was building the mystique of Batman in his way, especially when you get to Batman Returns, it was really good. That's what I like about his Batman. I'm starting to actually like Pattinson's Batman. The only Batman I genuinely hate is George Clooney. So shit. I wouldn't be surprised, Fernando. And do you think we will get Cope and Christian versus the Bucks this year? Maybe, but we're 100% getting Cope and Christian versus FTR. Catherine, Christ, damn, damn, damn. Okay, top 10 most hated wrestlers. Number one, Hulk Hogan. Nah, Michael Keaton's still the best Batman. Christian Bale's not the best Batman. Michael Keaton was able to distinguish Batman and Bruce Wayne properly. Bale couldn't do it. He couldn't distinguish them both. Having Cope and Christian versus FTR is fine. I just don't know if we need it. It'll be a decent tag match though. It's just I'm not sure if we necessarily need it. But I don't think Bale gets close to Keaton's level. I like his films. I just don't think he's better than Keaton. They do need something in that tag division, that's true. I just can't I think Val Kilmer was lucky that he had a much better cast around him as well, which allowed him to be more natural. George Clooney belongs in a bin. But if we're gonna answer this question, let's do it for our safety. Number 1 is Hulk Hogan. Number 2 is Marty Scurll. Number 3 is Michael Elgin. Number 4, Roman Reigns. Number 5, Jey Uso. Number 6, Solo Sikoa. Number 7, Charlotte Flair. Number 8, Becky Lynch. Number 9, Rikishi. And number 10, probably Cody Deaner. Are you looking forward to the American Psycho remake? No. I love American Psycho. I don't want it to be remastered. I would have said John Cena, but that's a cop out. I just can't be arsed with him. Cody Rhodes, what's the point? I just don't like him. I don't hate Cody Rhodes, I just don't like him. The Bloodline police are coming after me, and what are they gonna do? He's a pleb. He's number 11 on my list. Just generally, honestly, I he makes me sick. He genuinely makes me sick. There you go. There's my 10 most hated wrestlers. And don't worry, I was kind. I said women too. I said women's wrestlers that I genuinely do hate. We gotta be fair. We can't just have the men say it. Hulk Hogan will always be top of my hate list. No, because he's also a perro. I didn't like that stuff. No, I didn't like anything that he did. I think the best thing he ever did was get injured, because then I don't have to see him again. But sadly not. Nah, not even his kick. Most overrated is a difficult one because most overrated is also that's subjective because overrated depends on your point of view. So like my most overrated list, I don't actually think I've got a top 10 most overrated. Maybe a top 3. A top 10? Not really. I didn't see anything Del Rio did that was good. Everything I saw of him was just trash. His ring announcer was a better wrestler than him. Simple. Santino Marella is a better wrestler than Alberto Del Rio. And I hate they turned him into a joke because of that. The guy can wrestle and they turned him into a joke. Just like R-Truth. I don't care about R-Truth anymore, but that man can wrestle. I miss Ron the Truth Killings. My memories of him as a two-time NWA champion, thankfully, will never die. His best booking. That's fair. I think he's rated, but I think that's a fair comment. I do get your point. I think Triple H is overrated. Yes, he still is Maria. Please no. Modern professional wrestling's biggest mistake is overexerting itself. Comment of the night. Spot on, Black Bark. 100% agree with that. You guys have 1 minute and 50 seconds left. Then I'm gonna get out of here. So give it all you got. What a fabulous song. Hit me with your bishop. I believe so, yeah. I think he will be. Three Birds are still underrated today, even if he's the dick. Yep, true. Goldberg beating The Fiend is close. That's just a stupid decision in general. The character was dead at that point. I agree. The guy's useless. I genuinely think he's genuinely crap. But in the meantime, any predictions for Doomsday? Yeah, Green Goblin dies, and the Beyonder will effectively set up the demise of Spider-Man. Oh yes, and Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. I don't think it'll be that good. Shame. I wanted Julian McMahon to return. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your participation tonight. Thank you for your comments. It's been an absolute pleasure. Oh yeah, there will be. Hopefully Tom McGuire's wins. To be honest, same here. Yeah, so do I. Thank you. You all as well. Look after yourselves. But in the meantime, guys, I will see you tomorrow. Look after yourselves. And I'm gonna dash a word. This has been the weekly Steelchair, and like I said at the start of the show, I'm gonna say at the end of the show. Besides subscribing to the other channels in the live chat, Welcome, welcome, one and all. And on that note, it's time to end. Thank you very much for watching, and I bid you adieu and good night. Bye, guys.